Good morning. It is 2:30 a.m. my time. And I have been awake for, I've been tossing and turning for an hour, and yeah, so I guess I have been awake for an hour. I should have just got up. But I was trying to get some more sleep. There's too many times that we try to get more sleep. So the Lord has been the Lord has been talking to me about obedience. And more or less, obedience our way is not obedience. So if He has asked you to do something, told you to do something, and it is something that you don't want to do, and you don't want to do it the way that He told you to do it, or you don't want to do it in the time that He wants you to do it, at the time that He wants you to do it, it's not obedience. And this was illustrated to me probably in the most perfect way a little bit ago through my children. The Lord has been using my children a lot lately to, mine and my sisters, to to teach me. And I think that that's what children are for. They are for us to enjoy, to guide, sometimes shake our heads and chuckle at what in the world they're doing and why they're doing it that way and what it is. But over the past week and a half, we have had our children doing a lot more around the house and things like that before playing games. That's been a thing. And in our home, that's been a thing recently. Gaming. That's life. Gaming to the kids right now. They're at that age where if we would let them, they'd be on TV all the time. They'd be on games all the time. They'd disappear into the rooms. Anyways, so I have been having them do more things, such as washing their own plates and getting more laundry in, helping with the laundry, learning how to clean toilets. I want them to be functional adults, young adults, when they get to that point. And our oldest is 9. And I say our oldest as in like between me and my sister. I think our oldest is 9. And I may be a little off on that. But anyways, the point with that one is that he's not that far off from being a young adult. He's soon going to be a teenager, and he's gonna need to have good habits and start being in good habits now, and he probably should have been established in some of that a while ago. But we're starting now. And I have seen firsthand these kids be assigned something that I want them to do, and then they struggle to do it their own way. Their own way. I didn't know that there were so many different ways to try to make ramen, for example. It's something that they can learn pretty easily to make themselves. So I've started having them do that too. And my oldest nephew wanted to put the noodles in his pot before the water and before the water boiled, and we've done this a couple times. He's done this a couple times, but it's not fresh in his mind, it's not fresh in his brain that you need the water in the pot first. You need to boil the water, then put the noodles in the water. He remembers to set the timer for 3 minutes. So he knows that part, and that's really great. And he's a really smart kid. He's a really smart kid. But just to see him trying to do that his own way, or just to see it not sticking, I guess, the way that I said to do it, the way that I've instructed him to do it, the way that it was established and paved for him to do that, right? And that's not necessarily disobedience in that, right? It's that he hasn't remembered. He hasn't done that lesson enough, done that circle enough, that he actually remembers all the steps. And that was something else too. It's a really good example of us and how we are. And yeah, we can be. We're not ready to make souffle when we don't know how to make ramen. We have rabbits, and we've really enjoyed having the rabbits. They're a delight to have. The kids too. They will help with what they want to help with. Our rabbits eat a lot of grass, as much natural things as possible. They eat greater plantains and chicory, and we have a whole number of healthy weeds in our yard that are decently high. Decently high. They haven't been mowed in a while, is what I'm hinting at here. But so, example of them doing what they want to do versus what I asked them to do, and then trying to have that be obedience. When we are picking the grass for the rabbits, because we do that fresh 2 or 3 times a day, depending on what other things need done in the day. I mean, they do have pellets, and they get pellets too, but I want them to have a mostly fresh diet. So we're attempting to do that. A couple of the rabbits that we recently got are just going through some health stuff. Well, either health stuff or they're just beating each other up. I haven't quite figured out which, but I've got them separated to see if that will help or not. But anyways, so we pick grass 2-3 times a day ish, and when I have the kids help me with that, assist me with that. I asked them to pick grass for the rabbits, right? What I do is I have a bin where we put the collective amount in, and then I dump it into whichever area. We've got 3 areas for the rabbits right now, 3 separate areas, so that we can kind of separate them out while we're making more individual pens. So it's a bit of a process, and it's not where we want it to be permanently, but it's working for the minute. But anyways, that's where I like the grass. That's where I have them put the grass. That's where we all put whatever we pick. And of course, I make sure that the kids are in an area where they're picking stuff that's good for the rabbits. That's not a thing, right? But do they always want to put the grass in the bin? No. No, I'll have... Now, Addie is so cute, and she's 3, and she's so cute, but she wants to pick a handful of grass, which for her is a tiny little hand, smaller than mine, and it's so cute, but it's not obedience. She picks grass, and then she'll walk all the way up to the rabbits, pick a rabbit, and then she will try to individually feed these tiny little bits of grass that she has picked to a rabbit. And it's not that I don't want them hand feeding the rabbits, not at all. I want them to do that. I encourage them to do that after we've given them about a bin or 2 of an actual sizable amount of grass, though, because, well, there's a couple reasons, but when rabbits are hungry, they do tend to just grab and pull, and in their exuberance, it's not unusual for fingers to get nipped. It's not purposeful. It's not like the rabbit's like, oh, I'm gonna bite you, but they want food. they want food, and in the way that we have them right now, I have one mama in a separate little area for herself right now because she was being kind of grouchy with everybody else and pulling other rabbits' fur. So we have her separated out for now, and I think that she was acting that way because she was pregnant. She is pregnant, so we're keeping her that way until she has her kids and nurses her kids and just, goes through motherhood that way. She's not feeling the stress of having other rabbits in her space. But anyways, the way that Addie picks the grass and then wants to do that, and it's not just her. It's not just her. Addie, Izzy, Moana, MJ, Joey, Luca. Luca not so much because he is older, so when he does get into picking the grass, he does get into it and he'll take the bin around and he does that. And that's something that he really zones in on and focuses in on. And that's really great. But the rest of them, they do. They want to just feed them the individual bits right away and then not give them the sizable amounts. But it takes a lot of individual little pieces, a lot of little handfuls, a lot of little back and forth that way. It's not conducive. It doesn't get anything done. It's not obedience. It's not obedience. It's them doing what they want to do out of what I've asked them to do, and it doesn't get anything achieved. It doesn't achieve anything. And often what happens when the Lord asks us to do something is that we just flat out don't want to do it. So we kind of half do it, which is not obedience, or we don't want to do it when he tells us to do it, so we put it off, which is also not obedience. Or we'll just flat out do something else. For example, I'm gonna use myself. I use myself and my family, but I was told to sing. I was told to sing way back when I was a child. As told to sing, right? And I've struggled with that. Well, I was told to sing and to speak and to be proactive and to be out there and to be a fisherman of man, right? I fought that tooth and nail back then. I had a lot of brokenness. And a lot of brokenness going on in me, and no confidence in myself, no boldness, no, I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly it was, but it wasn't a safe thing in my mind. In my mind, I was like, you're telling me to do something dangerous. I'm not going to do that. No, I'll write, and I'll keep writing. And I've been writing since I was pretty young. I've been writing and storytelling. It started as storytelling, but also singing for a long time. This is something that has been ingrained in me for a very long time. And I just pushed off that part and pretty much completely ignored it until, well, we were going through obedience, and my mom said something offhanded about how the kids just insist on doing it their own way, and that is not obedience, and it is not helpful. And when I was talking to my daughter about it and trying to explain it to her in a way that makes sense to her, trying to break that down, I try to let her know that I don't actually need your help in doing these things. I've been doing them for a while, a long time, right? I don't really need your help, but I want for you to step into the place that you have here. As a member of a home, we've got responsibilities. As a member of a family, we've got responsibilities that don't have a dang thing to do with ourselves. I mean, not just ourselves. We've got responsibilities too as God's children. And the Lord told me He doesn't need me to do what He's trusted me to do, what He's given me to do, but He is waiting for me to step into my place, the place that He has given me, in order to do. We are God's children, but we get in His way. We get in His way a lot. And then I don't know if we actually make more work for Him, because He's God and He knows what we're going to do and what we're not going to do right straight off the bat. I don't know. I would imagine He's already planned for our detour, because He has every single little thing planned out, and He is so good that way. But when our kids help us in the way that they want to, They often make more work for us. That's neither helpful nor is it getting anything done. If you feel like you're stuck, or you've been feeling just caught, if God has asked you to do something that it's hard to swallow, sorry. You need to just do it. Just do it. Just get it done. Ask Him when it needs done. When He wants you to do this. You're allowed to ask Him. We're allowed to ask Him questions about how He wants it done, and maybe not so much why all the time. Excuse me. Jeez. We are allowed to ask Him why. I ask Him why a lot, but I don't always expect an answer to that to that question, because there are some things that we don't need to know, or that we would not be able to understand the answer to right then. And He does not give us more than we can handle. He won't. It's like there are some adult things that we can all agree are just a little bit out of what kids should know. And if they ask questions about it, then you got to kind of do your best to figure out what to answer them. And sometimes the best answer is just to let it go for a little while. Tell them honestly, we'll talk about it when they're older. But anyways, our obedience, or obedience the way that we want to do it, is not obedience. And that is what I've been chewing on for the last month or two-ish. Probably a month, maybe a month and a half, maybe a little bit longer, I don't know. But it's definitely been at least a month. And it's been interesting. It's been interesting. Also, in my life, what I have tended to do is, if somebody else isn't on the ride with me, to just not get on it. And that's not obedience either. God doesn't always give other people the same message He gives you. A lot of the times He doesn't. And so it's up to you to express that and to paint that picture for them, and to be able to explain to them what the Lord has told you needs done. And then if they don't believe you or choose to get on that ride, you need to use your discernment, because people are wrong. People are people. You cannot use people to define God and what He has said and what He wants you to do. And when you do that, you miss out on a lot. There is so much that we tend to think we can put God in a box, or what we heard from God in a box. And the thing about it is that if you have everybody supporting you in what you're thinking and feeling and saying, oftentimes what you're thinking, feeling, saying isn't big enough. God wants us to dream big dreams. He wants us to be bold before Him. Come boldly before Him and ask and say and speak and do. That does not change, should not change based off of what some people say, because that's not obedience either. Hearing a word from the Lord and then hearing people say no and then going by what people say, that's not obedience either. Because people look at impossible and say, well, that's impossible, or that makes no sense right now, or whatever it is. There are a lot of excuses out there. There's a lot of doubt out there. But we need to walk in obedience, knowing how God operates. God operates in impossible. He brings about impossible. Through Christ, we can do all things, not some things. So, not that you should do all things, but we can do all things. And so what He's telling us to do, we need to be faithful and do. And that's not always easy. It's not. But anything less is not obedience. And if it's not joyful obedience, it's not obedience either. If we are doing what God has told us to do, and we are grumbling the entire time we're doing it, well, we did it, and that's good. But we're likely going to have to do it again until we can do it in a joyful manner, in a manner that glorifies Him. In all things, we are to do it in a way that glorifies Him, in a way that shows Him in that situation for the people who are watching. And there are always people who are watching. You're going to have people watching, but they don't define the situation. They're watching to see what's going to happen because God is there. He is with you, and He's leading you through impossible, and everybody wants impossible somewhere. Everybody had a big dream, has a big dream that maybe they even let go of. But seeing somebody else's dreams come true, that's so big, that's huge. That's motivation. That's seeing the love of the Lord and wanting to be in that space again. We can inspire people back to the Lord with our obedience when we obey in the way that we need to, that we are called to. Now, I'm not saying to be reckless, and I'm not saying to do whatever you want to do. You will always have to take your dreams back to the Lord. But when you're walking with Him, you're not going to be contradicting Him. I have been struggling, me personally, with swearing again throughout my life. That has been a thing that I have struggled with among a lot of things. Admittedly, among a lot of things, but more recently, it has popped up again when I speak with my husband. It has been a little trying, it has been a little taxing, it has been a whole lot of confusing in a lot of ways, and there have been a lot of things that I have needed to take back to the Lord, rebuke, repent. I'm glad that what we loose in heaven is loosed on earth. What we loose on earth is loosed in heaven. What we bind on earth is bound in heaven, because you can bind that stuff, you can rebuke that stuff in your life, your marriage, and then move on. Fill your heart with the word. Fill your heart with messages. I listen to Jesse Duplantis a lot. He encourages me a lot, and he has been around the block a time or two. And there are a lot of people who will look at him and the money that he has and get stuck on the money. Eat. That's prosperity. That's prosperity. Prosperity is in the Bible. If it's not in your Bible, you're not reading it. First thing that God tells us to do, go forth and multiply. He doesn't limit that to go forth and have many children. Because if that's what he meant, that's what he would have said. God is not the author of confusion. Go forth and multiply. That's everything you put your hand to. That's everything you want to do, that you're called to do. Go forth and multiply is a prosperity verse. It's a prosperity command. Go prosper is what he said. Go forth and multiply. Go forth and prosper. That is a prosperity verse. It's one of the first. It's one of the first. There's so much that we miss because we want to focus on one part, or we want to obey the way we want to obey. We cannot be defining what he wants us to do and what he's saying to us. We are not the dictionary for his word. We are not capable of or knowledgeable of his word that way. It reminds me, it brings to mind my youngest daughter, Ember. She has recently discovered she very much likes popsicles. And we get the push-up pops, things that are just in little plastic tubes that the kids just push up and they suck on and they eat, right? I used to eat a lot of those when I was a kid. Boy, they taste different now. Anyways, but she has discovered that she very much likes those. But they are cold. They are cold. So she had a piece in her hand the other day. It was cold. She was screaming and upset because it was cold. But she would not let me take that popsicle for her. She just wanted to sit there in the cold and hold it. And that is not what I wanted for her. I wanted to hold it and feed it to her. But that is what she wanted for herself. And that is how we are. That is how we start. We cannot, in that state, think that we can define what the Lord is telling us to do. That is not accurate. It is not okay. It is not something that even makes sense in any kind of real context. We are the creation, not the creator. We are to study the Lord and love the Lord, and there is a reason for that, because we are going to study Him and study Him and study Him, and we're going to learn more about His heart, and we're going to learn more about who He is, and we're going to get closer to Him. But there is a very real aspect of the Lord that is just too much. He's more than enough. He says that in a very real way. He is everything and then everything more. Once we think we've figured it out, we learn there's more. We learn there's more. If you think you know everything, you don't. There is infinite about the Lord. He knows all. He's been all. He is all. He is everything and anything that is good. All good things come from heaven. All good things. When we walk with the Lord and talk with the Lord and we study the Lord and we follow Him and we love Him and we do what He's called us to do, there is nothing that He doesn't give us because He wants to. There's nothing that He doesn't prosper in us because He delights to see His servants prosper, His kings prosper. We are His chosen kings. And what really brought home the people thing for me, because I had done that for years. I had let people discourage me for years, or the lack of support discourage me for years, because I dream big. I always have dreamed big. The Lord told me, or He asked me one day, and He put it this way. He was like, who is anyone to question my kings? Who can question what a king does? What does it mean to feast on the wealth of nations? It means you are a king set above and apart. That is part of it. That is part of what you are called to. It is your calling to be a king. We all have a title. We all have something that we are intended to do that is supposed to be spectacular and fabulous and bold and out there and in front of people, in front of naysayers, in front of those who just don't believe that you can do it or don't have any intent to understand you. But who are they to define you? They don't. They can't. What you need to be doing is what you need to be doing, and you need to be willing to do that. If you're not willing to do what you need to do, nobody else is going to be willing to do what you need to do. It's just that simple. What God has for you, you need to get down and do. It may be uncomfortable. It's probably going to be extremely uncomfortable to start with for a while. This is the truth of it. We have to grow. We have to grow. God gives us things to do to grow. And there are some things that we can do that only we can do. Nobody else has my voice. Nobody else has my message. And you have a voice and a message. And the way that you are to give that to people. God gives us things so that we can then give them to other people too. So that other people can benefit from that too. Not for our own personal, private shower use. The image that came to mind is people singing in the shower. And for me, that's kind of literal because, again, my voice, right? But God gave you that gift so you can bless others with it and achieve what He wants you to do with it. It's not just yours to hold on to keep private in the shower. It's just not. Boldly before the Lord, walk in what is rightfully yours. And be encouraged. Because when we obey in that way, then we learn. And then we get to see another part of our great God, of our faithful Lord, who called you to a purpose for a very real reason. There are some people that I firmly believe only you can reach. You got something that somebody else needs. Don't keep that to yourself. Don't keep it locked up in a way. You are a light. You are to be a light in this world. Let your light shine. And if you get that catch, when He tells you something, it's okay. Just know you're not quite there yet. That's okay. That's okay. That happens. He understands that. We hit that sometimes. And we gotta sometimes repeat it until we remember how to make ramen. Oh my. Who are we without being obedient to our Lord? Are we just sitting around doing our own thing, getting what we can get? Are we obeying in order to get things? Why are we doing it? As obedience in order to just get a gift is again not obedience. It's a means to an end, but it's not obedience. The heart has to be right, and the heart has to be reformed, and the way that we think about things has to be conformed and transformed. We have to allow the Lord to renew us in Him, and that is the process. And it is a process, and it takes a little while. It does. There are so many hurts and things that are put on people, and Satan does that on purpose to try and bog us down and keep us from where the Lord wants us to be. But the long run, that stuff does not matter, because in the face of the Lord, all of that is healed and all of it is gone, and none of it exists anymore. And what you are left with is the image of how God sees you. and how He created you to be. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks. Doesn't matter what you say or think sometimes in that aspect. You very much can change your world and get in God's way, but that is not going to change how He sees you. How much He so loves you. He wouldn't have knit us together in our mother's wombs if He did not love us so much. Because that is a big project to undertake for anybody. If you've ever attempted knitting or crochet, you know what I'm talking about in terms of even just doing a blanket that's one-sided. We're 3D. We're real. We've got a front and a side and a back, and actually we've got two sides and a back. So maybe we're more than 3D. I don't know. That's not my arena of knowledge nor expertise, but what I'm trying to say is we are so much more complex than just a blanket. And knitting a blanket is complicated. It's complicated in and of itself. Not that I can knit. I can't knit. I can crochet. That's the knot that makes sense to me. Those two things, basically, we're just taking a big knot and creating an item out of that knot. And it's fun to do. It's fun to do. But it is difficult to do. It is an undertaking. God would not take the time to do that. He did not love every single part of you. Every single part. And I'm gonna leave it at that this morning. It's been almost an hour. And I know that's partly because I haven't been doing my videos weekly anymore. And I do apologize for that. I need to get back into that, and I do know that. I'm just gonna have to start getting up at night and doing them. I think that's just what I'm gonna have to do. That's when I've got the time to do it. So that time belongs to the Lord. Anyways, have a good day. If this has touched you, and if it has made a difference to you, please let me know. Please let me know. Like, share, comment. I would love to hear that and to know that. I'll talk to y'all later.